Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Club Pro Chatter Season 5, Episode 2. Greg Snow, Olivia Golf Club Head Professional, along with Scott McDonald, Director of Speed, Ripstick. Scott, good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, Greg. I'm excited on one note because the Timberwolves
That's right.
are officially in the playoffs. We don't have to debate, are they in the postseason? What's the plan? They are now in the playoffs. Second time since 2004. We're very happy here in Minnesota.
Scott, I almost texted you last night because it reminded me of Game 82, 2018. The last time, actually the only time maybe you and I have ever been to a Timberwolves game together. I think we indulged in some Fogo de Chao, which at one time was a sponsor of our show. If you recall, not in any financial means, but just in name only because the meat sweats. I promptly had a heart attack shortly after that. You remember? There was
yes,
like 9 months
I recall.
after. So that ended Fogo de Chao for us. And we need to do it. But I thought about you last night because it was like I wanted to be there so bad. My daughter's boyfriend was 23 rows up. And he said he stood the entire game, Scott.
Yeah, no, I know a couple of people that were at the game and sounded like the atmosphere was crazy. Kind of a ugly first quarter. I think you could put that lightly. Ugly, maybe some nerves, but down the stretch, it was a lot of fun. And it's just fun to see things like that. Even though this is a golf podcast, fun to see just great events in sports.
Let's tie it together, Scott. Jeff Munecki is a good friend of the golf family, good friend of the PGA section. He works for the Timberwolves. He has his own podcast with your buddy, Scotty Cole. They love to talk golf. I mean, we have connections to the T-Wolves here, and it's a big deal to us.
So I'm going to already start the apology segment because you've now called Brad Cole Scott Cole again, and it's Jeff Munecki, not Munecki.
Munecki is what I've always called him.
It's Munecki.
No, I've called him Munecki always.
Well, he's too nice to let you know. But anyways, we do have some connections in golf. Jeff's daughter, she plays college golf out in South Dakota. At USD, and she's went through our junior PGA, which we're going to talk about junior golf today. And yep, Brad's been a long time rep for Nike. It's Scott Cole is now a rep for Yamaha, I believe. So I'm sure Scotty's a big basketball fan too.
Brad, I'm so sorry. I called that to his face one time. I think I told you that up at the girls' state tournament. And
more than once.
There's a reason why he hasn't talked to me in a long time. Scott, I'm sorry. Okay, now I got a request from somebody that they wanted, and I know it's a rough day, but I'm going to put you on the spot. They said, we missed the songs. Scott, you're the singer. You know what? We're going to play in the Pro on Monday, and we're going to drive to Sioux Falls together, and there's going to be some singing in the car because that's what you and I do. We've been canceled. That event is no longer. It won't happen. So we're going to miss out on singing. So let's bring something up. Do you have a song in mind that you could sing for our listeners? You don't? You want to skip it today?
Well, the only song that I was thinking of, it's been a rough day in the McDonald household already, but we've got an illness running through and 2 out of the 4 are not feeling well. So
and you're on the iffy, right?
Yeah, I'm on the iffy, but let me pull up the lyrics.
Do you want to? Don't you want to sing "We Are the Champions"?
Oh yeah, for sure.
But again, did you see what TNT clowned us so bad last night because they were celebrating so hard? Did you stay up late enough to watch that?
Yeah, I saw that they were all mad about that.
So we don't want to go too over the top because I guess we'll get lumped in, Scott. All right, there you go.
Taking my vows and my curtain calls. You brought me fame and fortune and everything that goes with it. I thank you all, but it's been no bed of roses, no pleasure cruise. I consider it a challenge before the human race, and I ain't gonna lose. Greg?
goes on and on and on and on.
And we are the champions, my friends. And we'll keep on fighting till the end.
Oh, I missed that note, Scotty. All right. Good start.
So I was like, God, what song are we going to sing? And I saw that. I'm like, well, we got to do We Are the Champions, right? There we go.
We maybe went too far over the top. All right. You're right. We can start the apologies with Greg Snow just completely messing up Brad Cole's name.
And Brad was at the game last night. He took his father, Jeffrey, and Seth Hoshite, who works for Ripstick. He's at the game. I'm sure there's a bunch of people at the game. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hosh got to go.
Yep. Oh, yeah. He got tickets lower level. So, yeah, it's just fun to see playoff atmosphere basketball in Minnesota, right?
Yeah, I was on Twitter pretty hard about it, Scott, and I just don't think people understand. Lavelli Neal III, I'll call him out right here on our show. He thinks that it was way over the top, and I'm like, well, baseball players do it every time they win the pennant. You know, the champagne everywhere, and this was a big deal. We've been through a lot. I mean, even our last good team was Jimmy Butthead, and we couldn't even celebrate that because the next year he wanted out. You know,
Yeah.
We were at that game, 82, and we thought, okay, we got something good happening. Yeah, we had to slide in as the 8th seed because he was hurt for a lot of those times. And so it's been 3 years since we've had a chance to really even think about being in the playoffs. And then Cat throws up a dud last night, complete dud, and we still win.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're right to be excited. But I suppose that's enough about T-Wolves. You and I are passionate about it. And give me in the 4 sports, Scott, the 4 major team sports in Minnesota, rank them for how you like to watch. So you got the Twins, the Wild, the T-Wolves, and the Vikings.
Wild's last. I like hockey, but it's not like my thing.
Isn't that crazy? No, you love hockey.
Yeah, I do.
That's crazy.
I mean, I'll look at the box scores, but I don't. The Wild are last. I'd probably put the Twins next, even though I really like baseball. It's like we're talking like these are all. It's very close. It'd be like, what are the best golf courses between Augusta and Pebble Beach and Pine Valley? They're all really close. It's not like there's a loser. But the Wild for sure is 4th. Twins, Vikings are 2 for me, and Timberwolves are number 1 because I just love basketball. And yeah.
So if Bally Sports had a Twins game, no, I said that wrong. If they had on a T-Wolves game and a Wild game, which happens a lot, you're not even entertaining the idea of watching the Wild.
No, not unless it's a playoff game and the Timberwolves aren't playoffs, but that would never happen. So no. And I don't have Bally, so I don't get to watch any of it anyways. So all I am is I'm relegated to the 1950s and reading box scores.
You had some TNT last night that helped you, and then got to watch Shaq and Charles and Kenny just clown on us.
Well,
I was livid, but again, I understand. We're a laughing stock franchise, right?
Yeah.
So whatever. Hopefully now we can go beat Memphis and do something. But for me, it's Vikings and T-Wolves are 1A and 1B. I probably would choose the Vikings over the T-Wolves, even though I'm a basketball guy. I've never played football at any level. Then it's the Wild for me. And all 3 of those are really close. And then the Twins are further down. I think it's because of the 162, Scott.
It wears you down.
Yeah, I think it's hard for me. I have them on all summer here at the golf club. It's always something to watch, but even last night, I just couldn't get into it. I was so pumped for the Wolves game. I just couldn't figure it out. So, and then like you and I, we'd probably golf during Friday of the Masters if we had a chance.
Yeah, that's my thing is if it's a good golf day, if there's something, I'm not going to just watch a regular season Vikings game if it's a nice Sunday in September. That's just not me.
Right, we have the NCC, we skip Vikings games. Golf kind of takes precedence. So, and this is a golf podcast, although it seems like we're trying to become more diversified here in our conversations, and I appreciate that, Scott, because you know how much I love sports.
Oh yeah,
and I know you do too.
No, so, we could chat about the other stuff, but lots happened since the last podcast.
Well, yeah, it's been a month. Can you believe that?
No.
It goes by pretty quick, and that's a month of our life gone, just like that. A lot like the NCO. We talked a little bit about it last time, and we went down to Branson, you and I, and a bunch of the guys up north. Jack Worrell, I'm going to leave somebody out, just like I left some people out on those pictures I took.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, Scott?
I do remember.
Why didn't I get a picture with you?
You just don't like me, apparently.
Why were you sitting in your car so long in that final round? Were you doing your Jane Fonda yoga stretches in the car?
I was trying to stay as warm as possible for as long as possible.
Okay. Because you didn't want to wear a lot of layers while you were playing?
No, I had plenty of layers. I had the sweatpants under the golf pants. Oh, have you ever done that?
I won't do that. No, I wore shorts the entire weekend.
Yeah, there's something wrong with you.
We were on vacation. But anyway, Scott started the day 14 back. You had it back to within 2 at one point.
I think so.
Final round.
Yes.
And Jesse Nelson ended up being our winner, 5-time champion, I believe now. He surpassed me. I think we were tied at 4. He'll correct me if I'm wrong on this, and then I'll apologize for it. But yes, we did have a lot happen. I got to play Payne Valley, Scott. I got to play Buffalo Ridge down there. You chose to not. You chose to ride home with Janu and Seuss instead. And probably because it was your car. But anything else you want to tell people about the NCO? You whipped me as normal.
Oh, yeah. Does that count as a 1-0 start to the season?
It's 1. It's not.
Even though I beat you every single round,
you did not beat me every round. I beat you in round 2.
Okay.
Because I was low round at Branson Hills, which, by the way, everybody, if you go to Branson Hills should be on your list too.
Branson Hills is really good.
Oh my goodness. And again, I know a bunch of you guys got onto the grumbling train because of our first golf course. But when we made that switch over to Branson, I think everybody was ecstatic. That was a fun golf course.
Branson Hills is very nice. The whole area is great. I think anybody in Minnesota, from Alexandria, we made it in about 10.5. From the cities, you can make it about 8.5. So it's not a bad drive, and there's a ton of great golf. I didn't even get to go to Big Cedar Lodge. So Greg played a couple of them. The pictures were making a lot of us jealous. The only thing that I could say is, do they make those fairways so big at Paynes Valley that you could land a 747 jet?
Scott, did I show you that one, the par 5, number 4?
Yes.
We all hit drives, and there's bunkers kind of strategically placed. And then we look down, we're like, well, you got 140-yard wide layup area. And I'm sure they just said, let's just cut this all fairway. Who cares? What's the big deal? And you can lay up to any angle you want. So I went back and watched when Justin Rose, Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas, and Tiger played there, and they showed highlights on YouTube about that. And of course, they don't show how wide all the fairways were, but it's not like when we're heading up to Tower this year for the Club Professional Championship. That's the opposite. When you got woods on both sides and you're trying to steer it down there, because these were different. Kind of like Ledgestone was a little tight. We had a good time there too. That one had some tight holes. Yeah, no, it was a good, fun trip. Weather it's certainly better than it is right now. And I think that's the other thing that we need to discuss is clearly the golf season. When is it going to get here? It's going to be one of those late springs, and who knows, right? Well, Scott, if we have time at the end, maybe we can discuss that, because the petition is back around for high school golf to be moved to the fall. There's been some chatter about it again. And every time we have a spring like this, it always comes up. And again, I don't know that they're wrong, but that's what it is. But I think at this time we need to bring in Kaylee. She always brings us our state of the section news. And Kaylee, good morning.
Good morning.
What do you got for us this fine day?
Yeah, so things are starting to pick up in the section office, and we're excited to start the season on May 2nd with the Luther Pro Series 1.
Scott and I are signed up. Scott, you going to everything? I have a meeting in the morning. I can't make the education, but I'll make it at 12:51. By the way, everybody, I was late for the podcast today. So the first time, I always make fun of Scott for it. This was one of the few times that he beat me on. But I'm going to run in at 12:52 for that tee time at Luther. Are you making it for the whole day, Scotty?
Yeah, I'll be there for the whole day. Obviously, as an officer, I'll be there for the meeting. You know, it'd be great to see. I'm expecting record high attendances due to it being the end of the MSR cycle. So it'll be fun to see some familiar faces.
Some unfamiliar faces too.
Yes, some faces we haven't seen in a while. The other thing, Greg, on that is when Tone gets on, you could always request a B group, and that'll give you a little bit more time. He'd maybe accommodate.
Tone, noted. He's not on yet, but when he comes on, I appreciate that. I have a meeting at 9:30. It goes to 11. They added onto the agenda to 11:30. I believe it's an hour and 27 minutes from my house to Olympic, and I've already mapped a lot of this out. Jack Worrell will be standing on the 10th tee, first tee. I don't know, wherever Tone wants to start us, and we'll go from there.
Perfect.
Kaylee, what else you got?
So fun enough, we get to announce pretty soon the Cup Matches team versus the MGA. So stay tuned for that little sneak peek.
Wait, we're not sharing that today. Will that be on the next episode?
Sure. Yeah.
May 11th is kind of what we got. Oh, yeah, because the Cup matches are when, Kaylee? They're
May 24th.
Yes.
Not that I have that date on my calendar.
Well, you should keep it on your calendar, Scott.
I'm not getting the call this year.
Trust me.
You said how low I was on the section championship.
Don't give it away, but there's always the alternate list.
We'll announce soon on socials, so stay tuned to that.
Thank you, Kaylee.
Also, talking a little bit about junior golf. This is kind of fun and a really fun event for the junior golf space. But we did announce our Cup teams versus the Wisconsin Foundation this year. So those will be in June, at the end of June, down in La Crosse. So we had some really, really good teams lined up that I'm excited for that event.
And now Kaylee, and maybe Tone could answer this too, but this is all points driven, correct? And is it from last year or last year and some of this year?
Well, so the junior golf space is a little bit different than I think the MGA PGA Cup matches. So in the junior golf space, they have to win certain events to qualify for a spot. But then it's also based on Player of the Year points, and then just other SOTA series events. So there is kind of, events that you have to essentially win if you're going to make Cup team.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Very cool event. I think the juniors take great pride in qualifying for that event. I like the splash video on Instagram of all the qualifiers with the swings and all that. That was really cool. Where in La Crosse is the event at?
The country club down in La Crosse.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, it's fun to see, and we've had a couple of, we've had some great teams here, Greg, at Minnewaska, and we've had a couple of gals qualify for the Cup matches. Sarah Iverson, who works for us at Ripstick, she was on those teams, and they talk very highly of that event. It's a really cool event for the kids.
Yeah, definitely. We make it so fun for those kids. It's an honor that a lot of kids, don't take for granted. They've worked hard to be on the team, and it's a really fun event to compete with Wisconsin, but also, hang out with those guys. They're really fun.
I'm sorry to interrupt you guys, but I got to share this. One of my members just walked in and he handed me a $1,000 check, not to me, but to the golf club. His wife passed away last year, and they're donating $1,000 to the golf club. Do I work at the greatest place or what? Scotty,
well, that's
I've
pretty
told you
impressive.
This. Huh? I would have given him a hug when we were on the air here.
Well, you're going to have to give him a hug after
Shout out
the episode.
To Coach Jay. Scotty, he coached golf at Bold for 50 years. 50 years. Is Janu going to make 50 years?
Yeah, he started late.
Exactly.
Although his dad's in pretty good health in his late 80s, so you never know.
All right. Well, I'm on year 11 of coaching. I probably won't make 50, but big shout out to Coach Jay. That's unbelievable. But I'm sorry to interrupt, Kaylee. Let's go back to you.
Oh,
That was a little
super cool. That's a cool gift. So just moving along into junior golf space, we're really excited for this next upcoming year. We're up 11% from last season already. So we have a ton
Kaylee, stop. Wasn't last year crazy good?
Yes.
Let's go.
Yeah. So we're excited for the season. We're starting to work with our on-siters who are, part of our team that run those events all summer. We have 194 junior golf events. That's crazy.
Okay, so me and Scott have been on this. We have 194 events.
Yeah.
Do they all have a spot, or are we still looking for some courses for them?
So the ones that we have out now are on courses, but we can always take more, sites that'll be willing to host a junior golf event, because odds are we'll fill it.
Okay, and Scott, put in your shameless plug right now. It's actually not even shameless. You, the officers, talk about that, and I think it's a great plan. Love to ask, especially private clubs. Don't even look at just this year, at 2022. Let's start talking about 23 and 24. Carla's calendar goes way out, does it not?
Yeah, and that's ultimately what's going to happen is the growth is the last 3 years. Well, even before COVID, the growth was still very strong, and it's not going to slow down unless we slow it down as operators by not offering our facilities. If we don't have more facilities, we can't grow. And that's ultimately where we're at right now, is we're very close to being full. I mean, the younger events, they don't fill up, but for sure on the Players Tour, we can't grow anymore because we don't have the facilities. I would say, you can probably speak to this a little bit more, Kaylee, but I would say that all of our Players Tour events are either full or 90% full.
Yeah, they're full with waiting lists.
Yeah. So that all happened in the course of most of them, like minutes, Greg.
Yeah.
Minutes. So, I know.
Minutes. So if we want to grow the junior space, which clearly the kids and the parents there's a demand for it, but the only way we can grow is if there's more room to put these kids out there. So I'll say it again. We're not asking every year. We're just asking once every 3 or 4 years, especially in the metro. Outstate, the demand isn't as high because the population density isn't as thick. The metro, for sure, we need more host facilities. So just once in the next 4 years, please.
Okay, I'm going to piggyback on that for a second. If you don't want to hear about this from myself or Scott McDonald on May 2nd, you better avoid us. You better not hang out I'm not going to be there early enough on the putting green, but we're going to look you right in the eye, some of you guys, and say, have you hosted a junior event in the last 5 years? If not, we need your help. I mean, it's getting serious, Scott. I know we always say it, and I'm sure everybody's like, well, I just can't. Figure out a way to can, right?
Yeah.
I've always hate that answer. I can't. I tell my kids that I can't. Well, figure out a way to can, right? Somehow, some way.
4 years out, mark a Monday, let your board know. It's ultimately, it's not that difficult if you talk your board and your ownership team through it. It's helping grow the game. I think there was a great story at a meeting that we had about somebody hosting a junior event at Oxbow, and they had it was Players Tour, and a bunch of kids came out there, and it was, this junior event's out here. Well, a couple weeks later, I think it was Corey Herlickson who was the operator, and I'm not sure, but one of those families came out and said, "Hey, we love this junior event so much, we're going to join as members at Oxbow." So it's like, it's not like it's not about the revenue. It's not about that. It's sure you might see some benefits, but it's about ultimately growing the game. So doing the right thing.
Yeah, well said. Kaylee, anything else to add in the junior golf?
That's all I had for now. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kaylee. Let's bring Tone in here. Something we've been waiting for. And I want to start with this, Scott, because I want to get it out of the way as fast as possible before we talk about Tone's experience down there. He was able to go, but I'm holding in front of me the minutes. Let's call them the minutes for March 16th, 2022, which was where we picked our winners, and we gave Tone first pick, Scott second pick. And I can say that, Tone was the only guy that had all three cut. So he had that. Scott, you had the top guy. None of us had Scotty Scheffler, which really shocks me because he had already won a couple times. How did we miss that?
He hadn't won the match play.
Match play, right. But he had won.
He had already won twice, but the match play hadn't happened. And if we had done it after the match play, I think for sure one of us would have picked him.
So Tone had Hovland or Victor Hovland. I've messed up all the names today, Tone. Morikawa, Zalatoris. That's right, Scott. Scotty had Smith, Spieth, and Thomas, and I had, ready for this? Tone, do you remember who I had?
I don't.
Watch this. Koepka, Rose, and Schauffele. MC. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. And there was no point where Rose was going to make that cut. I mean, I was watching him because I have him in a lot of my drafts. I love picking him. He always do well there. Koepka and Schauffele. Schauffele didn't make one birdie, you guys. 36 holes. I just spit. I'm so mad. Not one birdie at Augusta. And I know it's a hard course, but find me another player, including Sandy Lyle, who didn't make a cut or didn't make one birdie. So anyways, we said we were going to go by money, and obviously Cameron Smith and Justin Thomas. Scott, winner of the first prediction segment. Tone, second place. I don't know if you count that. You're the first loser, and I was nowhere even close. Tone, tell us what happened in your life and how you went down and spent like 6 weeks down there in Augusta.
So I, been thinking about going to the Masters for a few years, since becoming a PGA professional. And, this year kind of panned out to make it happen, obviously with 2020 and 2021, having no spectators at first and then not allowing PGA pros. I kind of wanted to take the opportunity this year, just in case, if you never know, they ever were to get rid of that privilege. I hope not. But I just said, this is the year to do it. And booked the ticket a couple months ago and got it all booked and went down there from Wednesday in the practice round all the way to Sunday. So it was a long 5 days, but I took in the full experience.
This was your first one?
First one, yeah.
Okay, I get first question, Scott, then you can go. How many, and I mean how many, pimento and cheese sandwiches $1.50 did you have?
I had about, I think 4. I didn't have that many, but I did. It got better over the times of trying it. At first I was a little like on the fence, but then it did get better every time you had more.
100%. I had 4 the one day I went, and I was very skeptical because I hate olives. I don't not like olives. I hate olives. And I thought there's no way. And that's the only reason I'd go back, to be honest. Pimento and cheese sandwich. How sad is that? Scott, go ahead. You get the next question.
The pimento cheese is great, but did you have the egg salad?
I did not. No, I'm not.
Egg salad is almost as good, but I like the pimento cheese better. It's just a great experience. We're very fortunate that the PGA professionals get to go to this. I hope they never take that away or someone ruins that for us. So what was your favorite part of the experience?
A couple. I would say, obviously, just seeing the course in person. Obviously, I was surprised about how close like the green to tee was. A lot of the times, like 13, I always watching it on TV, I always thought that hole is kind of by itself in the green, but you never realize that 14T is just right next to it. But I'm a huge Tiger fan, and so when that news came out that he may be playing, I thought this is going to, just going to elevate the experience more for that first Masters, and being there to see him. I was right there when he, walked on the first tee, and on 18, I had my tournament chair on the first row of 18 green, right by the hole. So watching him finish the first round and the standing ovation and all that, I mean, that was something special, just to experience, to see him come back and to see how, I guess everybody was so excited just to, see him playing and see him back.
Tone, explain the tournament chair, because that was a question I had when I was there. I looked over on 16, the par 3, and on the hill on the other side of the water, all chairs. And then when we saw it, nobody was there. And I thought, I want to go sit in one of those, but I don't think you can. So explain how the tournament chair works.
Yeah. So you basically have a tournament chair. You put your business card or your name in the back of it. They have a slot, and then you kind of go there and you put it where there's an opening, and kind of these designated seating areas that they have painted on the ground. And you just set it there all day, and you can go to it whenever you'd like. There are people who do sit in your chair or other chairs, and then you just ask them, if you go back to it, say, hey, that's my chair, and they'll stand up and you'll get back going. So makeshift, grandstand, because they don't have grandstands on these holes. I was a little skeptical too. I was like, nobody's going to take it or whatever. I mean, people leave it there all day. They leave their merchandise under the chair, and it's never taken. It's just crazy. You do that at any other event, you will never see that chair again.
Yeah, it's, I think when last time I went was 2017. I believe you can have 2 tournament chairs. And you could put one, like Tone on the ropes on 18, or somewhere someplace else out there. But yes, it is crazy that you can walk up, Greg, and say, hey, somebody's sitting in the chair, and you're like, hey, I'm Scott McDonald, that's my chair. And they'll get up. And if the thing is, here's what everybody knows. If you don't get up and get out of that chair, and you get someone from Augusta, that person's never coming back.
You're gone.
See you later. Yes.
Yeah, you're not just gone for that day. You're gone. What an exclusivity that they have, and they can control, right? So people are on their best behavior. I agree with that. Tone, did you happen to lay down on the grass at all?
I did not, but I saw somebody who was laying down on the grass, and they were told to get up.
What?
On the first day or second day I was there was someone just laying on the grass, just soaking in on, I think it was 17. And the security guard told him, hey, you get up, you can't lay down on the property.
I didn't know that, because I laid down on it, because I'm like, this looks like my bed. People have no idea. I'm sorry to rub it into them who want to go, because everybody's like, well, I'm in the lottery system. We'll just see if I get. And I just let that area between 8, not how does it go? There's a huge 7 football fields
between 18 and 9, and
that it's like as big as Olivia Golf Club. I tell people this, and literally, it's unbelievable how big that area is. And I just laid down, Scotty, because the grass, and then right up to the concrete. Did you notice, Tone, how it's perfect? Right to the concrete. Yeah. And at our courses, that's all wore out, right? I mean, just cart path, you name it. But at Augusta, I mean, give us some fine details that you notice that you're like, wow, really do that.
I mean, it just overall, I mean, I made a joke with people there that, I'm colorblind, so I probably don't see it as green as everybody else does, but they were asking me well, what do you see? I'm like, well, it definitely is greener than courses that I've seen. But just overall, walking on the course, it just, I know it looks like what you see on TV. but it just adds, it's something to see in person as well. The greens, I thought the green complexes were crazy in person, like number 6, that par 3. Then the undulations they have in the hills. I'm like, where are you gonna, if you were to play this, like, where do you land the ball, especially with some of the hole locations? And another fun green I thought was 14 on Saturday, where they had the hole. It was like right in front of the ridge, and that's probably the biggest thing I noticed is, you can have a lot of fun if you're setting hole locations there. And so that's something you don't really notice on TV as well that you notice in person.
Where did you stay, Tone?
We had an Airbnb, kind of about 10 minutes from the course. So it was neat to be that close, and it was easy every morning.
Scotty, where did you stay when you were out there?
Columbia, South Carolina, which is about an hour and a half, hour 15. So
but you kind of have to, right? That's what I'm shocked, Tone. You must have booked this a year ago, huh?
It was booked a little bit ago. So yeah, we got a
little bit ago. Scotty was up late with the T-Wolves and with the kids, in case you're wondering about the awning.
Yes, it's but I will say that the best part about the Masters when we have a late spring like this is you can watch everything. The coverage is unbelievable. You can literally see every single shot. It's just fun to follow along, and it's just, what do you think? What did you think of the roars, Tone? You could definitely hear the different roars. I loved when you'd be like, oh, somebody just birdied whatever. Then you'd hear something, you're like, oh, somebody just eagled 13. And then you'd really hear when I was there on a Sunday and we had hole-in-ones on 16, and that was the biggest roar. So what do you think of the roars? They're real, aren't they?
Yeah, that was something I was talking about with somebody. It's just hearing the roars like through the trees and through the course is interesting. And the one aspect that you can't bring in your phone at the event, you can't like track it. You go to any other tournament, you can kind of know what's going on. You really have to rely on the leaderboards and all that. I mean, on the last day on Sunday, we were sitting on 17 in the grandstand as kind of all the final groups were coming in, and we waited all the way through Scotty Scheffler's group. But when the final group was going through hole 12, we heard this big, oh, and we're like, oh, somebody must have hit it in the water or did something or missed a putt. And when they post that score on the leaderboard for Cameron Smith, when he made a triple bogey, I think everybody was like, it's just like the feeling that you get is like, everybody's like, oh, you're just reacting to that. And then on 18, when Rory and Colin Morikawa both hold out with bunker shots, I mean, I was like, I thought Rory hold out for eagle or something. And then you hear it again, and I'm like, I don't know what's, you don't know what's going on. You see them just both birdie, and then we learn, when we're in the car, like, oh, they made both bunker shots back to back. So it's just a awesome atmosphere to be in and to experience it.
Did you stay around for the ceremony, Tone, or did you guys just bolt as soon as it was over, or how did it all?
Yeah, we kind of left as Scotty Scheffler's group was going to the green, just trying to beat everything. And, we didn't get our chairs on 18. The last day we were on 9. So you couldn't really, it was really hard to see anything with the amount of people that were there. But we didn't know he 4-putted. I mean, cause we were kind of like, when we were leaving, it was like, there was applause, but not like a roar of like, whatever. And I'm like, oh, that would probably explain it. When I watched it later, I was like, oh yeah, everybody's just kind of laughing and having a fun with it. But yeah, it was a experience well worth it, and I look forward to going back in the future.
Well, that was my next question was, so for me, mine was 2016. It's not a burning desire for me to go back. I did it. I loved it. I would eat a pimento like it's going out of style if I went back. But you get more golf at home, right? I mean, and you get the Masters app, and I wouldn't turn down going again. But for you, Tone, how do you see this? Is this an every third year thing? Every other year? Every year? Scott, there's PGA pros go every year, right? I mean, there's a lot of them. I live down there, but I'm just wouldn't be that way. What's your feeling about that?
I would, I don't know if I would go every single year. I would definitely want to go yeah, maybe every couple or 2 times out of 5. I mean, obviously I really want to get my dad, some lottery tickets and all that, because I think I want to experience that with him. That's probably I'm bringing him back some things from the tournament and telling about him was special. So I really want to get him there. But I think, as I was looking at it, if I were to go, and I would probably, maybe say like go Wednesday through, go half day Wednesday through Friday, and then you experience the tournament on TV. So you can actually kind of watch what's going on.
And you get both. Yep.
But that would probably be, I don't know if I would do another 5-day experience. I think for the first time of, it takes you a couple of days just to walk around the course and see everything you want and then experience it. But now that you have that, just going there for a couple of days, seeing what you want, experience again, eat pimento cheese sandwiches and chicken biscuits in the morning is what my go-to breakfast was.
Chicken biscuit.
There you go, with some hot sauce. So
you were in Georgia. That's a big deal down there.
I think that's what I would probably do, but I would definitely try to go back.
All right, Scotty, let's move on to our final segment here. And Tone, we need you to stay on because this is a big one. This has been talked about for probably 3-4 years now that the PGA Professional Championship has been moved to the spring. And we have a bunch of guys that are, if not down there now, well, I would imagine most of them are down there now because that's coming up, what is it, early next week, correct?
First round's on Sunday, Easter Sunday.
Sunday, okay. So talk us through, you two. I mean, this is your area. Scotty, I don't think you made it this year, which you and I experienced that painful day up at Stone Ridge, and I was able to walk you through that. But you have been there in the past. Some of us have not. So who's all going? And also talk me through the week before, Scotty, because you've been there and done that.
Yeah. Well, I actually qualified for one at Omni at Barton Creek. Yet
That's right.
This is the one that was taken away due to COVID. So I've actually played practice rounds at these golf courses, so I know them. So I'm kind of excited. Obviously, I wish I was there, but I'm excited to see it on TV because I know the courses and I know the shots. But yeah, this year it's going to be tricky for our guys because it is one of those springs where I think I saw something from Thomas Campbell that he finally got out on turf this week for the first time in Minnesota. And I know a bunch of guys, like practice rounds start, I think, on Thursday, and you can check in today. Practice rounds Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I think you can play practice rounds today, but most people 4 practice rounds is just overkill or whatever. So you can check in and get going. And so that's going to be the biggest thing, is getting used to playing off a turf, because sure, you could have taken a trip this winter. Some of us don't have the luxury of being in Florida all winter. Some do, but yeah, so they're better and they're in mid-season form. But a lot of our guys, this might be their first time on grass in 2022. So that's going to be the biggest thing. I always, when I went to South Carolina the first year that I'd done it, when it was in the spring, it was I spent a ton of time on short game. Obviously played, got some reps, but chipping and putting, because the turf's different too. It's not bent. So that was always my goal, is do the best you can to get your game tournament ready in 3-4 days.
Tone, who do we got going for Minnesota this year?
Well, we have, Derek Holmes, obviously his top 20 finish last year returning, but in addition, we had 8 qualifiers from the event. Jeff Sorensen, Roland, Childs, Snyder, Nelson, Campbell, Stendhal, and Shafransky. So we, I know they're going to be releasing the pairings and everything coming up here shortly. But it seems like a good group of guys, and hopefully we have some good contenders and get someone else to go back to the PGA Championship.
So all of them are going. Nobody had to withdraw from our section?
I believe all of them are going. I know I'm not aware of anybody who is not. So I'm not.
Please bring that up. Is Scotty, you remember we interviewed Darren Fisher and he was like 20 something on the list. And he was like, yeah, there's a chance. I don't know if he used the word good chance,
Yeah.
but especially in the spring, I would think a lot of these guys just have to pull out, right?
Yeah, it's some do, but it's a big deal. You're going to make it work if you can.
Well, how does 20 something on the alternate then get in? It's not all easy. Is it, Tone? What have you heard or seen that is a big reason why a lot of these alternates get in? I mean, I want to just say this. You run alternate playoffs for us, and a lot of people say, whatever. It's a big deal. There's a chance that these alternates get in, and you should want one of those alternate spots because.
Yeah, I mean, I think all those, kind of like Scott was saying, you qualify for this in the summer of the previous year, and things come up, things may change. Obviously, I don't think it's an easy decision for some of these people to pull out. But it's with all tournaments. With this one, I look at our local events like a state open and all that. They're like, why am I playing for third alternate in this one event? I mean, state open, we went through almost our whole entire alternate list last year, besides like 5 people. So, there's just so many different reasons why people change and schedules happen. I mean, I'm not sure what the main one is, but I just imagine the schedule changes, and it's always important to be on that list. It means something as well as qualifying, because you have that chance.
Well, I've only qualified for the state open twice, Scott. One time I was an alternate and got in, and another time I qualified on my own and then I couldn't go. So I was one of those guys as well, because remember, Scott, it was always during Corn Capital days.
Yes, it isn't now. Yes. One note, we've got 3 of our members in the field that have played in the PGA Championship with Jeff Sorensen, Brent Snyder, and obviously Derek Holmes last year. And I believe everyone has qualified for one before, except Thomas Campbell, because he was just a member. Jesse Nelson, I believe, is qualified, but he has never went because the Omni at Barton Creek won. So everybody else, they know what they're kind of getting into, how the week works. It's the other thing that I always try to do on Saturday, the day before, is you could play. Some people go and they play a practice round every single day. I tried to play 9 just on Saturday, just to keep, because it's a lot of walking too, because you're not riding carts. You got to take caddies. These courses, I will tell you, they're up and down. So it's not going to be an easy walk, especially when you're not used to it. So just to stay fresh, you want to be in good golf shape, but you also want to be rested and ready to go, because it's mindset. And so that's one thing that you got to really think about too. And you're in a different environment. You're not sleeping in your own bed, and the food down there, it's Texas. You could get some spicy stuff, and the food's awesome. Yeah.
Sweet tea. Oh, I should have qualified. Oh, that's right. I didn't play good enough.
I did really quick just check the field as of yesterday, and all those players I mentioned are still in the field.
Nice. Thank you, Tone. That's great. We want representation, and we also want to be a section that does well so that we can kind of put this to bed. And I know some of our guys, the fact that it's in the spring, it is what it is. We had our interview, Scotty, on the board call with the guy that we're going to back for secretary. And, this is a big deal, our PGA Championship, and moving it to this window earlier in the season. It all kind of ties into it. And I know it stinks it's not only us. I mean, goodness, if you lived in North Dakota, well, those guys are with us. That's right. If you lived in northern Wisconsin, it stinks for those guys. Michigan, I'm sure it stinks for those guys. So we're not alone. How about New York? Are they playing yet?
Some are, but it's anybody in the northern climates really hasn't gotten the reps.
So, I mean, it's going to stay here, it looks like, for a while, unless the PGA can't pony up the purse, because you saw what Augusta did. They added 30% to their purse. And now what's going to happen? And then the Saudi tour is now throwing their money around again. And here we go. Right. So what's the PGA going to have to add? I know this is kind of a segue, but how much are they going to have to add, Scotty?
They need to keep in line with the other three majors. They're not going to get to the Players Championship level. No one is. It's just a ridiculous amount. So, yeah, I think we're going to have to continue to keep it up there, pay like a major if you want to be treated like a major. So, yeah, we're going to have to be right in line with the Masters with which is what we were last year.
Yeah, Masters went up to 15 from 11.5. We were at 12.5 last year is what I saw. I think we're going to have to go up to 14 at least. The British Open was at 11. They were the lowest. I think that they're going to probably come up to 13, 14, somewhere in there. But you're right. The Players Championship, that's on a different level. That's a whole different reason for playing. But I'm interested to see what our hierarchy does with that purse. I'm sure in the back of their heads, they're like, really? We have to do this, right? Well,
yes.
Guess what? Sponsoring the Ryder Cup at Bethpage is now going to cost you a little bit more, I'm guessing. So, Tony, final.
No, I think I think it's all we talked about it all. I'm all good.
Scotty, thanks for battling through today, buddy. I know that you've been dealing with a lot of stuff, and we're glad to have you on board, even though that you could have said, let's do this on another day. So thank you for doing that, Scotty.
Yeah. I'm excited for now, May 1st and May 2nd, the pro member at Olivia and the Luther 1 at Olympic. Those are going to be my first two competitive rounds. Seeing though our Dakota Pro got postponed due to 41 and 20 mile an hour winds.
Hey, Tone, how busy are you on May 1st?
I don't think I'm that busy. I mean, I'm trying to get everything done for the Friday before for May 2nd, but it depends on how many requests or emails I get.
Okay.
You already got one from Greg.
You might get a request from me.
Okay.
I might need you to play at the Olivia Golf Club on May 1st.
All righty.
Yes.
I gotta make sure that I can. I haven't really practiced much, but I'll be there if I.
We don't care about that. It's a quota game. I'll set your quota a little bit lower. Right down with mine. Scotty's is going to be up here, so it's all good. We're going to make it happen. All right, that's Tone for Kaylee Ekstrom, Scott McDonald. I'm Greg Snow. Thank you all for joining us for our second episode this year in season 5 of Club Pro Chatter. Have a great day, everybody.